Bo, this was a topic idea that you came up with. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to let you set it up and describe how you kind of came to the mindset you came to for this particular topic.
So, when you do what we do and you're thinking about sports all the time, you're always thinking about other things, whatever. Things are always passing through your head about the future or the sports or whatever. And we've had a lot. I think we would all agree, to one level or another, that we don't really know what to expect for Deshaun Watson. I think Tyvis, of the three of us, is probably the most optimistic about Deshaun this year.
That's correct.
But it's fair to say you don't know what to expect because he hasn't played that much.
Listen, ticking time bomb. He going to go crazy this season.
And if he does...
I'm telling you.
All right. And if you're right and he does, then we'll all be thrilled and then the conversation is over.
Yes.
But recently, I was listening to something where they were talking about the fact that Dak Prescott and the Cowboys have not reached an agreement on an extension. Mm-hmm. In fact, it's so weird. If Jerry Jones is one of the richest owners in football, and yet he seems very cheap.
The 30th ranked team in terms of actual cash spent.
Is he the richest owner of everybody in the NFL?
I'm not sure if he's the richest owner. The Cowboys are the most valuable franchise.
Right. So he's definitely one of the richest owners. And yet he's kind of cheap. He hasn't paid CeeDee Lamb. He hasn't paid Dak Prescott. Mm-hmm. And they've lost a number of free agents. They got, I know he's your boy, Zeke Elliott, but they've got no running back.
Hey.
Oh, stop it. You know he shot.
1,000 yards this
season. Average 3.5 yards a carry.
1,000 yards, 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Book it.
I'll bet you a dinner. We'll bet a dinner.
What?
We're treating to a dinner.
That he get 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns?
He won't get either. Well, he could get the 9 touchdowns. Because they'll just throw him in on the goal line.
They are up to 17 games.
I won't bet on the touchdowns, but I bet he doesn't get 1,000 yards.
Let me think about it.
All right, you think about it. So it got me thinking. Now, I think ultimately the Cowboys will probably re-sign Dak. But if Deshaun Watson is not good this year, if he's just a guy or worse, and if Dak Prescott does not re-sign with the Cowboys next year, between now and then, if I'm the Browns, I'm not, because if Deshaun Watson stinks this year, don't we all agree they have to have a new plan for the going forward? I know he's still going to be here under contract for 2 years, but if he stinks this year, if he's mediocre, you gotta start coming up with another strategy.
You gotta have an exit strategy.
Yes. Now it's probably the way they'll go is go young and draft somebody, probably. Because they're spending so much money on Deshaun Watson. But Jimmy is not afraid to spend, as we know. And if I were the Browns and Deshaun Watson had a bad year, I would go all in and I would sign Dak Prescott at the end of next season.
Sheesh, so you're going to pay 2 big contracts.
2 things about Dak Prescott. One, in my opinion, he is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. All the guy does is put up big numbers. Yes, they have not won a ton of playoff games, and there have been some games where he hasn't played great, okay? But overall, he's played very well in the playoffs, and when they have lost, it has generally not been his fault. Unlike Lamar Jackson, who's been terrible in the postseason for the most part.
Why you got to bring Lamar?
I'm just saying. I feel like
Lamar ain't got nothing to do with this.
Because I feel like Lamar, Dak, and Josh Allen are all put in the same boat in the playoffs, and I think that's unfair. Because Dak and Josh Allen have actually played well in the playoffs. Lamar's played like crap mostly in the playoffs. His numbers in the playoffs stink. Okay? But, all right, getting back to Dak. The guy led the league in touchdowns last year. He's got no running game. His offensive line was completely banged up last year. Jerry Jones doesn't spend, like we say. Spends on on whatever. But the point is, I think Dak is a great quarterback. I think he's no doubt a top 8 quarterback in the league. And for some reason, he doesn't get the kudos that a lot of other top quarterbacks do. I don't understand it. When he's been healthy, he's pretty much always been excellent. Now, he's also younger than I thought he was. I don't know, for whatever reason, I thought he was in his mid-30s. He just turned 31.
Yeah, 31.
Just turned 31 a couple of weeks ago. So he's still got at least 3-4 years in his prime, you would think. He's a good athlete. He's a smart guy, smart quarterback. I mean, again, I know it's before the season. Hopefully we don't even have to have any of these conversations. But I was thinking about this. I mentioned it to Mike, so he said, why don't you bring it up? So there you go. I think if it doesn't go well again, even though you're already – and now you're going to be paying quarterbacks a crazy amount of money, maybe it's not even possible. I don't know.
Two things. One.
But if it's financially possible, I would 100% – because the Browns have a team that's ready to win. And if you go rookie quarterback, you're not going to win that way unless you get very lucky. Dak Prescott on this roster, let's put it this way right now. If Dak Prescott were on this roster, we'd feel a lot better right now. I know I would. You would, I'm certainly.
Super Bowl.
And I'd be thinking Super Bowl without a doubt right now.
Yeah.
Even though he hasn't, again, I'll be fair, he hasn't always been great in the playoffs. He's been great sometimes. Sometimes he hasn't been as good. But I would feel much more confident right now.
Who has
Dak
been
Prescott.
Great all the time in the playoffs other than Mahomes?
Tom Brady. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty much it.
Joseph.
Huh?
Joseph Burrow.
He hasn't always been great.
Yes, he has.
He's been mostly very good, but that's it.
He's been good.
And Josh Allen.
Wait a
for the
minute.
most part.
When has he been bad?
He's never been bad in the playoffs. He's had some games where he's been okay. I'm being fair about it. He's my guy, and I'm being fair about it.
I'm not.
Yeah.
Slim Shady's been good every time he's been in the postseason.
Look, as a team, they've been good every game in the playoffs. There's been one or two games where he's been fine, but not great. Not bad. He's never played bad in the playoffs.
They got to go look it up.
And for the most part, Josh Allen hasn't. And that's it. It's really just Mahomes, Burrow, and Allen that have mostly played well every time in the playoffs. Everybody else has got plenty of bad games. And to me, if I could get Dak Prescott, if I could get him right now, I'd do it. But certainly, if it doesn't go well this year, I'd take Dak.
This is what I'll say.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of being around Deshaun for 1 week when I was with the Houston Texans. Just 1 week. Now they cut me like 1 week. Bam.
Yeah.
Saturday.
You were
to Saturday.
you were out. Boom.
Bam. Out of there. So I got to be around Deshaun for a week. I got to be around Dakota Prescott for a preseason. Mm-hmm. Now, Dakota Prescott, I had my thoughts about him. I always thought he was an overrated guy. It's like this. Really? Yeah, I was like, he get all this publicity and he ain't really that good to me, right? I tell you what, I sat down with this guy and I had lunch with this guy.
Yeah.
And I just listened to how this guy just talks and goes about it. He's actually a really good quarterback. He's a great leader, actually. Like my whole thoughts of him changed when I met the guy. Like he's really actually a really good, cool guy. But what I liked about him in Dallas when I was there for the preseason, I was just there for the preseason, just four weeks. 4 weeks, okay? So take what I say with a grain of salt. That offense, the way he commanded that offense, it was like the coach could just do nothing. Like, he got this. He'll take over.
Want?
It was.
Yeah.
And I realized he was much more valuable than I thought he was. And when I seen him not in there with the offense, you could tell that it was like, So I got a lot of respect for Dak Prescott once I played for the Cowboys and seen how he did his business. And I think that he will be great wherever he goes. However, there's no way in the world that they paying somebody $230 million and then they're going to turn around and pay this man that much money too and had the most expensive quarterback room in the world. So it ain't happening. You can LIG that thought. Let it go. It's not happening.
The only thing I would say is this group, ownership front office, has proven that they will make bold moves.
And be creative.
And going and even flying to Houston and meeting with Deshaun when you had Baker was a bold move.
Yeah.
I tweeted at the time they had the most to lose of anybody who was pursuing Deshaun. They were the only team with a young established quarterback in the franchise. And they pushed all in anyway because Jimmy wanted better at that spot.
Yeah.
I don't know the cap gymnastics it would take.
It would be serious.
but the other thing that I will mention, and again, we'll say, this is a worst case scenario type thing.
Yeah.
You got 2 years left with Miles. You got 2 years left.
That's
if
right.
this season unravels and you're trying to come up with an exit strategy at quarterback or you're trying to figure something out at quarterback, you're doing that with your last season of control over Miles. And that's a dangerous game to play. So, yes, this team is structured to win right now. Right now. This is the window.
And within the next 2-3 years, you're probably – the following guys will either be gone or past their peak, including Miles, Nick Chubb, Amari Cooper, Joel Bitonio, Wyatt Teller. all those guys 3 years from now, clearly, I mean, it'd be an upset if any of them are not, at the very least, on the downhill climb.
3 years from now?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so
I mean,
the Browns can't afford to just, let's draft a quarterback at 19.
and they know that. That's why they didn't go the rookie route when they moved on from Baker.
Right.
Because they knew then. So it's even more so. So hopefully Deshaun plays well and it's a moot point. But I do think if this unravels on him this year, there's a lot of hard conversations that have to be. I mean, it's funny you mentioned this because when I was on the phone with Zach this morning, we were just talking about like the Denver situation.
Yeah.
And Denver just ate it with Russ.
Right.
They just ate it. And they took one season where you had to step back and recalibrate and you had to eat the contract and then figure out how to move forward.
Yeah.
Minnesota did it with their money as well. And the Browns, if it would be like 30% of the cap still.
Yeah.
So and hopefully these nuclear options don't even come into play.
Right.
But I mean, it's better to have this conversation in August than October and November.
That's right. That's it. And I think the Browns would have to seriously consider it, to the point where if it's the midway point of the season and Deshaun's just having a really bad year or if he's hurt again, if I'm Jimmy, I'm like, I'm calling Dak's agent and saying, hey, don't sign with Dallas. We're gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
It takes two in that situation.
Yeah.
He has to want to come. Whoever it is.
Yeah, right.
Dak
sure.
or whoever has to want to come here too.
They say Dak should. If Dak leaves Dallas, I think he should go to the Seahawks. I think it'd be a nice fit for him.
All right. Well,
He is from all accounts, a phenomenal dude.
No, he is.
Dak.
I'm telling you firsthand.
Phenomenal dude.
I was like, you legit. Like I thought you was a phony. I ain't gonna
He's
lie. I
too
thought he was
legit
kind
to
of a
quit.
phony, but he actually legit.
So you thought he was a phony because Russ was a phony.
Russell's not a phony.
Oh, I thought you said that he was.
No,
People
I
say-
said
said he was.
Russell's a great guy. I thought he was a great guy.
You always say that. It feels like you're being a tiny bit sarcastic.
He wasn't. Russell is a great guy. Like I had no beef with Russell.
So why does Sherm always rip him?
He's not a good football player. That's it. Sherm would tell you he's a great guy. He's just not a
He's
good
a
football
good football player, not a great football player.
I told you a story about the check.
The check.
The rookie dinner and the check with the tie.
Oh yeah.
I got it.
And the restaurant picked it up.
Listen,
But Russ was telling everyone,
I got it. Paid for it.
I got it.
Oh.
they showed me love
That
for
is
my
shady.
rookie dinner. Thank God for Sherm and Cam for picking up my tab. They made me pay like $1,000 and then they took the rest. I was like, thank you.
Still paid $1,000.
The bill was like 10. They was getting Louis the 13 and getting double bottles, steaks, everything. Shed took a plate to go home. I was
shouldn't have
like,
to pay
y'all
anything.
ridiculous.
undrafted guys shouldn't have to pay.
That's
the
what
same
I
amount.
said.
All right, Robert Mays is with us.